Hi, I'm Maya. I'm the Vice President of Strategy, Operations, and Outreach at Google Research. This means I spend my time exploring what's on the horizon and helping to make it real. That includes AI. You're probably already using AI yourself, even if you don't know it. It's the technology behind things like giving you optimized traffic routes or personalized suggestions for YouTube videos. AI is also creating new ways of working or running a business, and it has a lot of huge potential for you and your team. And like any new technology, it can be intimidating to know where to start or how to keep up, especially when it feels like there are new things happening every day. Don't worry though, we're here to help. In this course, you'll get AI skills employers are looking for. This includes important fundamentals about AI, how to apply AI to your own work, and how to be a responsible AI user. These skills will help expand the possibilities of what you can do with AI at work. We've brought in a team of AI experts and practitioners from across Google to serve as your guides. You'll explore different use cases that you can apply to your own work. We focus on getting you right into the tools. That's intentional. You wouldn't learn how to play the piano without touching the keys, would you? AI is no different. The best way to learn is by doing. Throughout your learning journey, you'll practice using AI with access to Google's most capable models. You'll start with the Gemini app as your home base. You can think of it as your all-purpose AI assistant. You can access it from desktop or on a mobile. And there's all sorts of stuff you can do from this one app. You'll also practice using other AI tools like NotebookLM and AI Studio. What are some of the things you'll be able to do after completing this certificate? You'll learn how to look ahead and anticipate questions someone might ask before a big meeting, or how to understand a topic that's new to you. We'll show you how. You'll build project roadmaps, a compelling presentation, marketing imagery, and charts that tell a story. You'll see how AI can help turn rough ideas into clear communication to get your teammates on board. And you'll be able to transform raw data into visuals that everyone on your team can understand. By the end, you'll even be able to build your own custom apps like an interactive dashboard or a media asset creator. And you'll do it by directing AI with natural language. No coding required. When you start applying your new AI skills to your day-to-day work, you'll be able to solve new problems and boost your impact. After you're done, you'll earn a certificate from Google demonstrating skills that employers are looking for. And you can add this credential to your resume and LinkedIn profile. You'll also have a portfolio of things you've built yourself using AI. So let's get started. There are lots of ways AI can help you at work. Sure, it can help you come up with a catchy name for your next product, but to get the most out of AI, it takes a bit of a mindset shift. What do I mean? Well, imagine the following scenario. You're faced with a high-stakes goal of growing your business unit's revenue by the end of the year. Instead of just using AI to draft a note to your team announcing your project, try using AI as a collaborator. Ask it to help you build your forecast and generate options for increasing sales. Have it help you pressure test assumptions and identify risks, then explore different revenue scenarios. See the difference? The real benefit isn't just in solving one-off tasks. It's in collaborating to help you solve a problem, navigating across various steps, and enlisting its help to set you up for making better decisions. But to really get the most out of AI, you'll have to use your unique expertise and judgment to guide your collaboration with it. Your role is essential. You're the one with context and emotional intelligence. Yes, AI can help you create a presentation, but only you know your audience. AI can offer solutions to a customer service problem, but only you can be the final judge if those solutions should be presented to the customer. And there are times when AI might not be right for the job. It has limitations. For example, topics like financial, legal, and compliance advice may be too sensitive or risky for AI. Connect with a professional on these sensitive topics. But in cases when AI is the right fit for the task, you should know how to get the most out of it. The idea is not to add to your to-do list, but to help with the things you're already doing, and to help you do new things that previously may not have been possible. The first is you have to start using the tools, right? And then the second is I'm starting to train my mind to use AI for helping me get over the hump in my most gnarly problems. So usually when you feel that sense of, ugh, I don't want to do that, that usually for me is a signal like, hey, how about some AI? Right? Because I don't expect it to complete the whole task. But I always find that when I feel like, oh, why do I have to do that? And then I think, hey, wait a minute. Is there some way to make this easier, to make this more palatable, to get myself through that initial horrible feeling of like, I don't want to do that with AI, and then it gets the ball rolling? I remember one time coming out of a complex meeting that had a lot of action items that I needed to capture and put into an email for the team. I was dreading it. And then I thought I should use AI for a first draft. It was great. I didn't have to worry about capturing the action items. I didn't have to worry about the formatting. And once I put my own touches and reviewed carefully what AI had created, I sent off the email and it saved me a lot of time. AI can sometimes feel like magic. It has so much power to do amazing things in seconds. When I get an impressive AI result, I'm almost expecting to hear applause in the background. But of course, AI isn't magic. It's a computer program that, like others, has capabilities and limitations. Understanding how AI works can help you get the most out of it. I'm going to walk you through the top things you need to know about AI. And don't worry, I'll do it without all the tech jargon. First things first, let's get on the same page. When we say AI, what are we really talking about beyond the buzzword? You probably already know that AI stands for artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the concept of building intelligent machines that can do things like reasoning through a problem and providing recommendations. But how does it do that? Well, within the world of AI, you have something called models. AI models are computer programs that are trained on tons of data like articles, images, or videos. The model finds patterns in the data and then is able to apply those patterns to new situations like making predictions or generating new content. This process, called training, helps the model improve over time. And this isn't some futuristic technology. Think of your email spam filter. It uses massive amounts of data to help sort emails you want from the emails you don't want, spam. Every time you mark something as spam, it learns from that and gets better and better over time. But what happens when your spam filter gets it wrong and an important email gets lost? The answer may lie in the model's training data. This is the data that AI learns from. Let's look at another example. Say a food distributor trains an AI model to sort apples from other fruit. This model's training data includes thousands of images of apples, enabling the model to recognize, apples. But what happens if the training data only included images of red apples? This might make the model less accurate at identifying other types of apples, like green or yellow. As a result, the food distributor might end up sorting apples incorrectly, causing them to lose money and waste perfectly good apples. A model's training data shapes what it does. It's also one reason why one model may produce different results from another. A second reason is the model architecture itself. How a model is programmed and the rules it applies to its data and learning may vary from model to model. Some AI models, like Gemini, learn from massive amounts of data that go way beyond images of fruit alone. With more data and training, a model can start doing some pretty amazing things. It can understand a request and respond to it, even if it's the first time it's encountering that type of request. This advanced type of model is called a large language model, or an LLM for short. LLMs can learn so much and get so good at predicting based on patterns that they can create entirely new content, like blog posts or a birthday haiku. AI's ability to create something new is called generative AI, or Gen AI for short. It gets even more amazing. Some Gen AI assistants are multimodal, which is just a fancy way of saying they can work with more than just text. They can understand and create images, videos, audio, and more. So you could upload a photo of a chart and ask for a text summary of it, or submit an audio recording of a meeting and have it turned into a list of action items. Or you could easily create compelling visuals for your website or client presentation. Let's look at another way AI is evolving. You may have heard about AI agents. What's that all about? Well, Think of agents as systems that combine the intelligence of advanced AI models with access to tools like your calendar or email. Instead of giving an agent a single task, you can give it a broader goal. Then the agent can break that goal down into smaller steps and take action on your behalf, all under your control. For example, imagine telling an AI agent, organize a kickoff meeting for the Q3 marketing project with the design and sales teams for next week. An AI agent could then check everyone's calendars for a free slot, book a meeting room, draft a welcome email with the project brief attached, and send out the calendar invitation. It can handle all the tedious coordination, freeing the team to focus on the actual strategy for the meeting. The opportunity there is not just answering your questions, but actively helping you to accomplish your goals. Okay, great. We've talked about what AI is, how it works, and some emerging capabilities. This is crucial for you to be an informed user. It allows you to make the most of AI's possibilities while understanding its limitations. Let's keep going. I have AI conversations all the time. At the dinner table, at the grocery store, I'm only slightly exaggerating. It feels like everyone is talking about AI. You might feel like you need to become an expert overnight. But what if I told you that using AI effectively has less to do with being a tech genius and more to do with understanding a few simple principles? Let's start with some of the things AI can do and how it can help you at work. First, AI can help you understand information. Think of summarizing multi-page reports in seconds, getting insights from a dense spreadsheet, or getting up to speed on a client's industry. This can help set you up for better decisions. AI can also create new things. It can help you draft communications, build the outline of a presentation, and even generate product images. And finally, AI can help you improve your work. It can poke holes in a project plan or suggest ways to make a client proposal better. And it can give you fresh ideas for you to evaluate. My team uses AI all the time. Our job is to create efficiencies and drive for impact for Google Research. I'm always inspired by the ideas they come up with for using AI in our everyday work. So how do you get AI to work for you? Good news is, if you can give instructions, you already have some of the skills. That's because AI understands natural language. That means you communicate through everyday words, either through typing or through speech. But if you want to go from being a good user to a really effective user, there's some technique involved. Let's talk about some of the things you need to know. The key to using AI well is giving clear and specific instructions, or prompts. Prompts are instructions you give to AI to get the results that you want. Sometimes you'll upload files or other documents in your prompt that you want it to take into account. Everything you include in your prompt is called an input. What AI generates in return is called the output. Knowing how to prompt well is a fundamental skill to unlock AI's full capabilities. Because AI is frequently changing, you might hear about new features, apps, and models being released. It can feel like a lot to keep track of. So let's break down what these terms mean so you'll know how to leverage these advancements at work. First, let's start with the AI model, Gemini. Think of the model as a car's engine under the hood. It's the technology that does the actual reasoning and generation. Even though the engine provides all the horsepower, you don't need to interact with it directly. So, to make use of the engine, what would you do? Well, as the driver, you get into the car. That car is the AI app, and you're in the driver's seat. In this course, our home base will be the Gemini app. You can access it on your phone or via the web at gemini.google.com. Okay, you're in the car. Now, how do you get it to do what you want? You press the ignition button, grab the steering wheel, and push that gas pedal, right? Well, to command AI, you use parts of its interface like the chat box and its features. When a new feature is released, you can go back to the app and check it out. But the Gemini models power more than just the Gemini app. It's a family of some of Google's most capable AI models, and it's built into products like Google Search, Maps, Pixel, and more. While you're in the Gemini app, you can explore different models and features to pick the right one for what you're trying to accomplish. So what's the best model for your task? Different AI models have different strengths depending on how they were trained and how their learning was refined. Some models are really good at quickly providing all-around help. Other models might be best for advanced tasks like research, coding, or weighing the pros and cons of a complicated decision. Keep in mind, more complex tasks require more computations, which could take the model longer to complete. As you use different AI tools, there are other things you can do to customize your experience. For example, Google AI Studio offers advanced settings such as temperature, but temperature in this context isn't about whether or not you need a jacket. It's about controlling the creativity in AI's output. A lower temperature setting means the output will likely be more predictable and consistent. A higher temperature means you'll get a more inventive output that could be less predictable. Remember, AI doesn't know anything. It's just using its data and learning to predict what the best answer might be from a range of possible options. Temperature is just one way to experiment with this. Okay, it's time to start putting this into practice. Imagine you're stuck in a long meeting and your coworker is taking everyone's lunch order. You say you'd like a sandwich, and they end up ordering you a tuna fish sandwich, which is not your thing. Since you didn't clearly communicate exactly what you wanted, you didn't get a great outcome, despite your coworker's willingness to help. AI works similarly. It's best when you communicate clearly to get what you want. You need to make sure you're giving it detailed instructions and asking good questions. This is called prompting. When you prompt AI, there are many ways to go about it, but the key principles are being clear and providing context. We'll start with a framework you can use to make sure your prompts have clear directions and relevant information. This gives you a solid structure and guidelines for what to say to AI so you aren't guessing. I'll show you how this works in Gemini. Consider this scenario. You're looking for advice on how to make a meeting more effective. We'll start by going to gemini.google.com. First, describe the persona that you want Gemini to take on. That means decide what expertise or knowledge you want Gemini to draw from before explaining what you want. In this example, you could tell Gemini to take on the persona of someone who's highly experienced with large projects, which tend to require lots of meetings. You are a seasoned team leader with a proven track record of managing large projects. Then, describe the task you want AI to help you with. Give me some tips for running more effective meetings. Next, specify the format by telling Gemini what the output should look like. It could be a list of pros and cons, bullet points, or a specific length or tone. Let's format your response as a bullet list. Now you need to set the context. Ask yourself, what does AI need to know in order to get this right? For starters, AI doesn't know how large your company is or how teams work together. It also doesn't know your unique challenge, which is making clear decisions during status meetings. We'll add, our teams often work cross-functionally, and we're struggling to make clear decisions on some aspects of the project during our status meetings. One more note on the framework. There are plenty of ways to construct an effective prompt. The order in which you construct a prompt is less important than the substance of the prompt itself. Now let's run our prompt and see what we get. Okay, the idea of assigning a dedicated decision maker and a note taker is interesting. It does help to know who has which role before the meeting starts. Make sure to check the output AI gives you before you use it. This is a crucial step. In some cases, the first response you receive may have room for improvement. Maybe the different folks on my team work in different time zones, and it's hard to get the dedicated decision maker in the meeting because it's outside of their working hours. You can add this context right into the same chat and ask it to update its advice based on the additional information. Prompting is a foundational skill for getting great results with AI. Here are a few more tips that can help elevate your prompts. Provide an example or a reference. Just like seeing an example helps you understand a task, giving one to AI helps it understand your needs. If you're looking for advice on running a meeting, attach a past agenda as a reference. It's also helpful to enlist Gemini's multimodal capabilities when prompting to help it better understand what you're looking for. This means including different types of media in your prompt, like documents, images, or websites. Think about how you would communicate with a hairdresser. You might describe what haircut you want using words, but sometimes showing a picture can be more helpful. You can do the same with Gemini. You may need to use several prompts to keep on improving your output. This process is called iteration, and there's a few ways to do it. First, you can edit your initial prompt. For example, you can add more details to the persona, task, format, or context. Or you can try writing a similar prompt with different phrasing. Another option, you can break up your prompt into smaller parts. Instead of asking for a full solution all in one go, you could first ask for principles of effective decision making. Then You could follow up and ask how you could apply those principles in your meetings. Finally, you could ask for a meeting agenda that will better enable decision making. This process helps AI to reason through each part of the request at a time. You're focusing it on a smaller task and checking in along the way. Finally, you can add constraints into your prompt. Constraints are requirements that the AI should meet. For example, provide solutions that can be implemented within a week, or don't suggest lengthening the meeting. Okay, one last tip. Remember to use one chat per topic. That's because everything you enter into a single chat becomes context for AI. This is possible because of long context windows, meaning you can keep the chat going and even return to it days or weeks later and pick up right where you left off. But if you switch to a new topic in that same chat, things might get confused. So when changing topics, always start a new chat. Putting this framework and tips into practice is the key to effective prompting. This approach will help you better guide AI towards the results that you're looking for. And the more you practice, experiment, and get more comfortable, the better your results will become. Most importantly, as you continue writing prompts for different types of tasks, the way you use AI will evolve from just giving it simple commands to having ongoing collaborative conversations that add more value to your work. For example, once I planned a trip and I found that it was really useful to add the ages of people who were traveling, and then to return in the future when the dates change to find out, did the itinerary that I had before work or did it need to be updated? Ready to keep building from here? Let's go.
I found that not only giving a bunch of context at the beginning is really helpful, but I always like to add at the end, please ask me any follow-up or clarifying questions before you continue doing work. And that has been really helpful because when it's coming up with an end-to-end plan for whatever task I've given it, if it pauses and says, okay, well, actually, what about this task do I not know and I need to ask me, the user, I can then answer those proactively and make sure the output is something that I'm happy with, rather than, Gemini does a bunch of work and then I review it and then I'm not super happy with it and we have to keep iterating. Generally, we see that as chats get longer, just the amount of context Gemini has to keep track of gets bigger. And so you may see some of the quality start to deteriorate in many turns later. That could be a good time for you to kind of restart the chat. One way you could do that is actually just ask Gemini, can you summarize this thread? I'm going to start another thread and get an output of what has happened in this thread, what you have tried. I would still upload, if you had any attachments in that original thread, I would re-upload them again. But you can do that same format of I was working on this problem. Here are the relevant docs attached again. I have already done this much, paste in that summarized content and then ask your next query of what to do.
Imagine your boss says to you, we need to talk. A little worrying, right? Now, imagine a coworker says, we need to talk. Same words, different reaction. You can sense the difference between those situations because you understand nuance, context, and consequences. But AI can't understand those things, not on its own at least. It can be an amazing collaborator and help you enhance your work in all sorts of ways. But AI doesn't live in the real world like we do. That means you need to exercise responsible AI use. This is a big part of our work here at Google. We're committed to AI that encourages bold innovation, responsible development, and collaborative progress. These are our AI principles. So, knowing AI's limitations enables you to use it more effectively and responsibly. For example, AI can get things wrong and say things that aren't true or subtly false. This is called hallucination. There are many reasons why AI may hallucinate. For one, it may be that its underlying training data has an error. It could also be that it's trying to solve a problem that's entirely too unique and that it hasn't seen before. It might also struggle to accurately understand real-world knowledge and physical things. Or it might be because it's trying to create an answer, but it's really just a guess. Because AI can hallucinate, you always need to pay attention and verify what you get before using it in your work, even if the responses sound confident. Another limitation you should be aware of is that AI does not have common sense like you and me. And while its outputs can seem insightful or intuitive, you have to remember that it doesn't have a real understanding of the world. At the end of the day, its outputs are just based on patterns it learned from data, not real experience. For instance, recently I asked it about street festivals in an upcoming weekend. It pulled street festivals from previous years. It was a mistake, but I caught it and corrected it. So what part do you play as an AI user? Well, you're in the driver's seat. You're responsible for overseeing each step of the process from beginning to end. We call this human in the loop, meaning you should be constantly involved with the use of AI at each step. Now, the need to use AI responsibly is pretty obvious, but you may be thinking to yourself, how do I do this, or where do I start? Well, there are 3 simple steps to making sure you're using AI responsibly. To remember it, we like to use the term ACT for act responsibly. A stands for ask. Before doing anything, ask yourself, is this even a case where I should be using AI? For example, don't rely on responses as medical, legal, financial, or other professional advice. Always consult a professional on these topics. If your task involves sensitive, confidential, personal, or proprietary data, consider whether or not you should use AI. Another question you should ask yourself is, can I use an off-the-shelf solution, or is it better suited for an enterprise tool? You should always consult your employer's policies on using AI at work and avoid inputting confidential data into a public AI tool. Next up, C, which stands for check. After you've decided that AI is right for the task, check the outputs before using them. First, check for objectivity. Remember that a model's training data can sometimes produce unintended results. It's your responsibility to critically review the AI's response. This involves looking out for one-sided arguments, loaded language, stereotypes, or other unfair assumptions that AI may have learned. Next, check for accuracy. Verify the outputs you receive and make sure that any information which is presented as factual actually is. When checking your outputs, you also want to look out for bias. In many cases, it's what you do with the output that matters. You should always check that the output is appropriate for its intended use. You should not rely on AI to finish work for you without your oversight. Completing the task requires your judgment and accountability. Finally, T stands for tell. Being a responsible AI user involves disclosing your use of it. Always be transparent about your use of AI. One way that Google is helping to increase transparency of AI use is with SynthID, a new tool which adds digital watermarks into AI-generated content like videos, so the use of AI can be detected easily. Okay, we've covered all parts of ACT. Before you use AI, ask yourself whether or not the tool is right for the task. Check all AI-generated outputs before using them. And when you do, tell people. And remember, it's up to you to be the human in the loop at each step. Now you're ready to keep going.
So if you get a bad response or just one you're not happy with, give us a thumbs down. Like, it's okay. We won't, our feelings won't be hurt. We actually want this feedback. Give us a thumbs down. And then every once in a while, there'll be a feedback box that pops up that says, like what went wrong or how can we make this better? And there are a few select options. So you can just select one of those or you can type in what went wrong. And what's really helpful there is not only saying what went wrong, but what you expected or what you would have wanted the response to look like. And yeah, this is data that we analyze all the time. We really want to see where the model is struggling or failing. And so we can just make it better in the next round.
The biggest things we achieve at work often start as an idea, but the journey from a spark of inspiration to a finished project isn't easy. Identifying the right solution, building a plan, and managing all the bumps along the way, they can feel like a lot. But what if you had a new partner in this process? A creative collaborator to help you generate possibilities, a master strategist to stress test your assumptions, and an execution expert to build a plan based on your ideas to get the job done. Hi, my name is Yul. I'm a VP of Product Management at Google, and I help lead a research team called Paradigms of Intelligence, which tries to understand the nature and building blocks of intelligence. Now, in this course, we'll show you how Gemini can be that creative partner for you so that you can think big and achieve your goals at work. First, you'll learn techniques to generate ideas with you. We'll simulate experts and push creative boundaries to uncover solutions you never would have considered. And we'll show you how you can use Gemini to bring industry knowledge into the process to help. Next, you'll pressure test solutions. Now, the best ideas are ones that can stand up to potential problems in the future, but spotting those problems before they happen can be tough. You'll learn to use Gemini as a devil's advocate to find risks in your strategy before they become problems. You'll also learn how to apply constraints to get to the most relevant solutions so that you can choose the best path. Finally, you'll manage your project by getting everyone on the same page. We'll show you how to use NotebookLM to create an information hub where you and your teammates can ask questions and get answers about the project in literally seconds. It all sounds pretty great, right? Well, it kind of is. But to make this a reality, you'll also need to understand some key principles for using AI effectively. But don't worry, we've got you covered. First up is problem framing. Before you even consider using AI, you need to clearly define the problem you're trying to solve and why. Where you are and where you want to go will anchor the process from start to finish. You also provide essential context. Now, AI doesn't have all the background information about your customers, your team dynamics, or your leadership's priorities. Those are the critical things that determine which solutions to pursue and what steps should be added to your project plan. And that information can only come from you. Throughout this process, you're setting up the problem, exploring the options, and using your judgment to make a decision on what to do next. Now, AI isn't perfect, and it can sometimes give you ideas that won't be a good fit. So please, be a tough critic. With this new way of working, you'll have a resource to turn to at almost every stage of the project lifecycle, from idea to plan to delivery. It's a mindset shift. And by the end of this course, you'll be able to break through creative blocks, find unexpected solutions to complicated problems, and turn your best ideas into action plans that drive progress. So good luck. My favorite go-to AI tool nowadays has got to be NotebookLM. It is such an amazing way to keep track of all the different things that I've been meaning to read, to organize it, to synthesize it, and give me the key insights I need to actually get things done. Sometimes, making a big decision at work can feel like you're answering the final question on a game show. Everyone's watching and time is running out. Are you going to win the big prize, or are you going to go home empty-handed? It's easy to start doubting yourself. Now, you'd probably feel more confident making a decision if you just had more information. Usually that means doing in-depth research and pulling together things like competitor profiles and consumer trends and industry insights. But creating just one of those reports could take days, or weeks, or even months. Now, this is where AI can be an incredibly valuable research partner. It does way more than just produce a report faster. It can scour a range of sources, get to the key takeaways, and help you deliver a stronger report. It's a whole new way of conducting research and building understanding on a topic. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't mean that the fundamentals of good research are going away. You still need to verify all of your information, and you still need to build your own arguments. And when you're faced with really difficult or ambiguous challenges, the ones where there's really no simple solution, you still need to consider all the angles and make the final decision. In this course, you'll learn how you can use AI to build deeper understanding in almost any area. And you'll discover how to transform uncertainty into solid, confident recommendations. First, we'll show you how to research a complex topic with Gemini Deep Research. It can find and analyze multiple sources on your behalf, synthesize that information, and reason through its findings. Then, you'll gain the ability to cut directly to key takeaways from any materials that come your way, even if the most important nuggets are scattered across multiple documents. You'll learn how to manage that information: reports, articles, websites, business documents, meeting notes, almost anything, and generate useful summaries in text, audio, and video formats using NotebookLM. Finally, you'll create a gem, which is a custom AI expert for help on any topic to get your questions answered, or just a place to bounce around ideas. After completing this course, you'll be able to consistently turn complexity into clarity. You'll be well on your way to being the person that colleagues rely on to tackle tough, ambiguous problems. And with the feedback from Gemini, you'll always feel like you have support in making huge decisions. It's a shift that gives you the power to enhance your understanding on almost any topic. So if gaining a new way to learn quickly sounds good to you, then let's get started. I have a really good friend who is applying for a job, and he asked me for help getting ready for the job interview. And I told him, have you tried using deep research on Gemini? And he said no. So I told him, hey, why don't you ask Gemini Deep Research to help you get ready by giving you a briefer on what you need to know in order to ace this interview. He got a ton of information about the company, about the specific role, what kinds of questions he might be asked, and draft answers to those questions, and he ended up acing the interview.
My chief use case is particularly audio overviews. I end up having to read a lot of research or wanting to read a lot of research reports or generally PDFs, and they can be 20 pages, they can be 100 pages. And so being able to upload them to NotebookLM and then have it discussed just in my ear while I'm walking around is great. And then be able to ask questions is like a cherry on top. I have started getting more and more into gems lately. It's sort of like my own little team. So I have one gem that serves as my project manager. And this then helps me create other gems. I call it my Gemerator. So this gem is specifically meant to, one, do project management, but when I need a specific thing, like writing ad copy, it then will help me create a gem for writing ad copy. So I have very niche use cases when I want it to have specific source documentation or a specific tone of voice. And so then it helps me sort of dictate, okay, this is a task for your ad copy gem, this is a task for your messaging gem, and that is my go-to.
Okay, you're sending an email update to your close teammates. You might try opening with, hey team, an emoji, and if you're me, maybe throw in a corny dad joke to try to keep them engaged. Now, that same email might not land so well with, say, your CEO or new client. Kind of makes you cringe, right? Now, obviously, messages need to be tailored to the person receiving them. Your CEO might just need a quick bullet point summary, but your client, on the other hand, might need more reassurance and detailed solutions. Without help from AI, crafting several versions of the same message could take hours. Not everyone is a professional writer, and it can be challenging to adjust your writing style to different audiences. It's also pretty common to get lost in endless rewrites. All this, and you still need to make sure your core message comes through. Getting your communication just right is vital. And that's because you're doing more than just trying to share information. You're trying to achieve an objective. But if someone misunderstands your message or your tone, you could lose their trust. And that can lead to more questions, more meetings, and more reviews. Things can get pretty slow, inefficient, and draining real fast. But with Gemini, you have a writing partner that can help you produce multiple tailored email drafts in just seconds. In this course, you'll learn how to use AI to amplify the impact of your communication. We'll show you how you can combine your own voice and judgment with AI's power to help you generate, refine, and practice communication. Of course, the principles of effective communication are still timeless. Things like knowing your audience and delivering messaging effectively, they still matter. But now, we can use AI to deliver on those principles in a brand new way. Specifically, your role is to bring your strategic thinking and your emotional intelligence to the table. Here are 5 communication elements where your role is essential. The first is purpose and intent. This is all about defining the why, or what you want your message to do. For example, do you want to persuade, to inform, de-escalate, or inspire? The second element is understanding your audience. Only you understand the priorities of your leadership, your clients' needs, and your team's mindset. Without you, AI won't know the context and history of your relationship with your audience. Next is authenticity and voice. You want to make sure that any communication coming from you sounds authentically like you. You're the final editor that makes sure your message matches your personal or company brand and values. Then there's accountability. Keep in mind that you're responsible for the impact your words may have and any consequences they may bring, so be sure to read every word. Finally, there's strategic judgment. Use your experience and your wisdom to choose a type of communication that works best, like an email versus a phone call, or in some cases, no message at all. So what is AI's role in this partnership? Well, you can use AI as a thought partner while you build your communication strategy. and you can have it tackle time-consuming tasks. Let's look at a few areas where AI can help you reach your goals. First is brainstorming. You can describe a communication scenario, like how to position a new service for clients or how to share disappointing news. Then Gemini can provide you with options and thought starters as you evaluate how to approach the situation. Next is rapid drafting and variation. Sometimes the hardest thing is starting from a blank page. Within Gemini, Canvas can create multiple versions of communication like business emails, one-page documents, and key talking points in seconds. And it can tailor all of them to different audiences. Now you have something to work from. The third area is refinement and polish. Gemini can help you improve your message. It can instantly rephrase something to make it more clear. It can also adjust your tone of voice from formal to casual. And it can provide feedback on your work as you iterate. The last area is practice and simulation. You can rehearse a sales meeting or difficult conversation using Gemini Live. And this can help you build confidence before the actual conversation happens. Now, you'll notice that I didn't list Ghostwriter under AI's responsibilities. And that's because if you completely rely on AI, it might result in communication that's missing important context or just doesn't feel authentic. Remember, you and your voice are essential to the equation. Instead, you can use AI to speed up the editing process to help bring your voice to life. It can help give your wild ideas structure or help you get past that dreaded blank page. You might spend less time struggling with how to say something and more time improving what you want to say. When you use AI in the right way, you can get closer to the action or reaction you want to achieve with your communication. You'll find that your emails actually get read and people will follow through. Or your communication is clearer, reducing back and forth and getting to quicker decisions. And maybe your perspective is better understood by your teammates or clients, and as a result, you'll be more effective in informing or even changing their opinions. So let's get rid of those long, confusing email threads and start communicating more clearly. I think one of the most underrated AI features is the ability of large language models like Gemini to really translate across different languages. So my parents primarily speak Korean, I mostly speak English, and I use translation tools like Google Translate all the time, super useful. But LLMs can, in some cases, do a much better job conveying the tone and the spirit of what the person was trying to say and express it in the language that they can understand.
I think the most important distinction between when to use Gemini app and when to use Canvas mode is when you want to collaborate with the model to create something that maybe you then want to export out. Oftentimes in a chat thread, it's hard to pinpoint, like, I want to change the specific line of the response, or I want to add something here after this paragraph. That can be hard to call out in a chat thread. But in Canvas, you can just highlight certain portions of the text and have a conversation with Gemini about that. And then maybe this is like writing an email, edit all of it together, and then export it out one time.
Hi, I'm Clara. I work in product marketing on the Gemini app at Google. Now, when I'm having high stakes conversations like sales pitches, presentations, or difficult one-on-ones, it's crucial that I'm able to perform my best, really deliver the points that I need to make and be persuasive. In this video, we're going to use Gemini Live to simulate a challenging conversation and get feedback on how we did. Now, to access Gemini Live, you'll need to download the Gemini mobile app on your phone. When we use Gemini Live, we're not prompting, we're having a natural, free-flowing conversation. Let's say I wanted to practice a sales pitch with a potential customer. I'll show you what that looks like. To start, click into Live. Hey Gemini, I need to make an important sales call. Let's role play.
That's a great idea. What kind of product are you selling?
So I'm a salesperson for a logistics company called Cardboard Caravan. My goal is to book a meeting with the logistics manager at Terry's Trousers, who recently submitted an inquiry on our website. I call and you answer the phone.
Got it. I'm ready to play the logistics manager at Terry's Trousers. Let's do this. Thank you for calling Terry's Trousers. How may I direct your call?
Hi, this is Clara from Cardboard Caravan. I'm calling to follow up on an inquiry you submitted on our website. Could you tell me a little bit about what you're hoping to achieve with a new logistics partner?
Absolutely, Clara. We're looking for a logistics partner who can help us streamline our shipping process and reduce costs. We've been experiencing some delays and inefficiencies lately, and we need a reliable solution to ensure our trousers get to our customers on time.
I totally understand. We've helped other companies in your position. Would you be open to a brief follow up meeting to talk about how we could help you specifically?
I'm sure that could be arranged. What times are you available for a meeting?
How about next week? I can follow up via email and send you a case study.
Sure, next week works. Please send the case study.
Now that we've finished our live conversation, we can ask Gemini for feedback. We'll ask Gemini to provide feedback on my approach, include strengths, weaknesses, and suggestions for improvement. Wow. There's some great feedback in here that I can definitely use to practice. I also use this feature to talk through ideas and then turn those into actionable project proposals. Say I have an out-of-the-box concept for a new product launch. I'll ask Gemini Live to help me flesh out the concept and then synthesize our conversation into an action plan that I can share with my leadership and with clearly outlined next steps. It's a great way to go from idea to execution. So the next time you want another perspective or help with ideation, try going live with Gemini.
Sometimes you need more than just words on a screen or a verbal description to really bring an idea to life. For example, I could try to describe a dream I had last night, or better yet, I could just show you. So most of us would jump at the chance to make our work stand out with impressive visuals, but this can be out of reach if you're not a designer. But with Gemini, you can create and transform content across media types. For example, you can build marketing materials or images for your website. You can take a report and turn it into a presentation. Or you can even create a video with just a prompt. You can do all of this using AI's multimodal capabilities. This means that you can make a request in one format, like an image, and get an output in a different format, like a video. For example, you could give Gemini a text prompt and get an image in return, like this. It can also take something like an image and turn it into a video, like this one. Hey, want to see something really cool? It can even take a set of images and combine them into something else. So AI provides a whole new way of working where your ideas and creative vision define the strategy, and AI can instantly turn this into reality. So what does this mean for you and your work? Well, first, you can gain the ability to generate high-quality images and videos. You can add these easily into any work product or in your messages to your team, stakeholders, or customers. Second, you can expand your ability to create with instant format transformation. Start with something in a Google Doc, like your messy notes, or a PDF, a spreadsheet, an audio file, or another format. And then from there, you can direct AI to turn this into a 5-minute presentation outline. Third, Gemini can give you on-demand feedback while you're creating a draft or piece of content. Anytime you want, you can ask Gemini for pointed critiques, like, does this presentation clearly explain our proposal? Or how might our audience of first-time homebuyers respond to this video ad? Gemini can help you find potential areas for improvement and give you tangible suggestions for how to refine your work. So how should you use your experience and insights to direct it? Well, think of AI as your thought partner, not your replacement. Review everything it produces and make sure it matches your perspective or your brand. And if you're representing something as fact, like transforming a report into an infographic, double-check that AI got it right. And always exercise your judgment by asking yourself if you're using AI in a way that's appropriate given the context and the audience. By the end of this course, you'll be able to use these techniques to quickly prototype, create engaging content, and get feedback and pointers about your work. All right, if you're ready to start using AI to bring your ideas to life, let's get going.
So I've always had this in my head, and I was like, when I have time, I'm gonna write this book. And then large language models came out, and I was like, man, that'd be cool. Like, if I have time, I'm gonna work with the large language models and get started writing that book. And then I was like, wait a minute, we can go directly to video. This is like 2 months ago. I was like, I can just create a movie. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm so excited. I was like, wow, because in my head I was always like, I gotta sit down and write this. And then when I write it, but actually it's like more like it's a movie in my head and all of this. And I'm like, whoa, we're just like cutting out steps in my made up universe of what I'm gonna do. So I love using search, and then I love the search capability to use AI mode. So I think people should go and try that. Oh, and you know what I love? I love things also in Google Photos. People need to mess with Google Photos, okay? I love Magic Erase, right? Like you can take, like I love taking things out of pictures. I love circle to search. I like saying, hey, I want something like this. Can you help me find it? And I like to use a lot, it's like a long list. I think it's great to support, for instance, local artists, local designers, clothing designers, or jewelry designers. And the ability to find them now is easier than ever, right? Because you can search for people that are doing quite unique things or things that are quite bespoke to what you want. That is cool.
Let's say you're exploring ways to improve your company's services. So you collect some survey data, pull reports on customer retention, and grab meeting notes from your colleagues. Before you know it, you have a lot to work with. But now you've got a different kind of challenge. With all of these different sources, how do you make sense of it all? Not everyone has training on how to analyze data, and even for those that do, it isn't always easy to pull clear insights from raw data. But data analysis can be an incredibly valuable tool. Why? Because data can help you make the best and most informed decisions, and it can provide support for your point of view on any given issue. Now with AI, even people whose eyes would normally glaze over at the sight of a spreadsheet can take advantage of the power of data insights. Gemini can take messy data and tell you what it all means. It can even make sense of different types of data at the same time, like customer retention numbers and survey feedback. AI can make the most frustrating and time-consuming parts of data analysis just fade into the background. You can even create visualizations to communicate your findings. You can also do more complex analysis in new ways using everyday language with Gemini in Sheets. And you can accelerate data cleaning and uncover patterns between different data sources. It'll even troubleshoot complicated formulas for you. All this means that you can discover valuable insights in a fraction of the time it would normally take. Now, you might be thinking, if Gemini can do all this analysis for me, what do I have to do? Well, first, you still have to ask really good questions about the data. Sometimes it helps to start broad to understand the biggest trends and the most important conclusions, and then drill down into the details. Second, if you make a discovery or find an interesting insight, it's really up to you to understand the implications and make the right business decisions. And lastly, you'll always need to verify the findings to ensure their accuracy. Another thing to consider is data privacy. The golden rule is simple. Never input confidential data into a public AI tool. And always consult your company's policies on acceptable use of AI tools. Now, if you do need to work with sensitive data, you have two main options. First, see if your company has an enterprise-grade AI tool. The second option is to check the settings of the public tool that you're using. You can opt out of data collection or adjust your privacy controls as needed. Understanding these controls isn't just about privacy, it's about giving you the knowledge and confidence to analyze data with AI. By the end of this course, you'll be able to use Gemini to discover the most critical insights hidden in an ocean of data. So let's dive in.
I'm doing work in a brand new way that I would not have done before. And so in this case, I would have not looked as closely, frankly, at survey data or stuck to my very stock reporting. So very often you you have a survey that's both multiple choice and open response. And you kind of say, well, if this is a positive one, I might not look at the open response. If it's a negative one, I'll dive in. Now I can treat kind of all text pretty equally and look at things in a brand new way and consider open text responses as a much, much richer data source, as it often is.
Think about a project you're working on right now. Ever felt like you've gone through the exact same motions before? I'm here to show you another way. And this method will not just help you with your current project, but it'll also set you up with a custom AI tool that you can go back to time and time again. Sounds cool, but also complicated? It's not. I'm Amar. I lead product and design on Google AI Studio, the platform where you can work with the latest Google models and build your ideas. And AI has been a game changer for bringing my ideas to life. From books, animated shorts, coding games, podcasts with people from the past, and more, AI has unleashed my creativity. Throughout your learning journey, you've been collaborating with AI to amplify your skills. You can work with AI to brainstorm ideas, draft tailored communications, or get a first pass on a status report. You're having a conversation with AI to solve the challenge right in front of you. Now let's zoom out and make even bigger strides. Across all of your work, what are the challenges you are encountering time and time again? You might think to yourself, I wish there was an app for this. Well, in this course, you're going to learn how to build it so that the next time you come up against that challenge, you have a way to solve it fast. You're going to learn to create custom shareable apps using AI that are designed by you for you. And this is the next step in your AI journey, moving from being a user of AI to becoming a builder of your own AI-powered solutions. To do so, I'm going to introduce you to something called vibe coding. It's a way you can use natural language to build software or apps with AI. You can then use that app to make it easier to get stuff done. For example, let's say you have this kind of annoying task you always have to do, like resizing images for your monthly newsletter. You wish you had an app with a big upload button that you could drop the images into and instantly get them back in the size and format you need. You'd also love for that app to automatically rename the image files so that it follows your team's naming conventions. Well, with vibe coding, you can build an app to do all of those things, just the way you need it. Vibe coding is a lot like prompting. It requires you to describe exactly what you need. Give AI details about your workflow and help it understand good results from bad ones. It can then attempt to create your dream app. But how is this even possible? Well, when you vibe code, you're actually using something called agentic AI. And this type of AI goes beyond just responding to your prompts. It takes action on your behalf, but only under your supervision, of course. After you describe what you need using normal, non-technical words, agentic AI handles all the techie stuff, like writing code, building the interface, and making sure everything works together. And in this course, you'll learn how to vibe code to tackle some of the challenges you face at work. First, you'll map out your personal workflow and pinpoint exactly where a custom app would help you save the most time. Next, you'll see vibe coding in action. I'll walk you through different examples so you can see how it works from start to finish. Finally, you'll build your own app. I'll guide you step by step and make sure you know how to vibe code responsibly and troubleshoot common issues. You'll find out how to evaluate the code AI developed, own the results, and maintain your app over time. All of this will help make sure you create an app that actually works. And by the end of the course, you'll have a method you can repeatedly use to identify ways Gemini, Google AI Studio, and NotebookLM can help you in your job. And you'll have the skills and confidence you need to create a custom app that can handle some of your larger tasks. If you're ready to start building, let's jump in. Well, I think the cool thing is we're all familiar with apps on our phone, right? And so what I just tell them is like, imagine if you can make an app for yourself and you didn't have to write a line of code or know how things work behind the scenes. What if you could just describe your idea? And I think it's really cool we're at the stage where that's exactly what you can do now. You just tell it what you want and you have this AI thing just going and building your ideas for you. Vibe coding lets you build apps that solve your work problems. But why do we call it that? Well, it's a fun way for you to build something helpful without needing to code. All you have to do is know the vibe of what you want to achieve. Okay, there's a little more to it than that. And that's what I'm here to show you. See, a year ago, when these models had come out, I wanted to see if I could make a childhood game of mine. And I didn't know the limits of what was possible. But for 3 days, I persevered through all sorts of errors. And by the end of it, somehow, that game was made. Now, fast forward a year from then, today, if I just give the model one screenshot, it can make the entire game for me. It's wild how fast these things are moving. And so how do you bring that to your work? To give you an idea, we'll practice building a few apps together. Here's a sneak preview of the 3 apps we'll build. The first app I like to call the Tiebreaker. This is an app that I built specifically to help make tricky decisions. You'll customize it so that it understands your preferred approach to decision making. For example, do you like to compare 2 options side by side, or are you someone who likes to go deep on a cost-benefit analysis? This app will help you analyze your options so that you feel good about your decisions. The second app is a marketing materials generator. Need creative for an upcoming launch, or a promotion, or an announcement? With this app, you can create ads, stickers, banners, posters, and other visuals to help you sell your product. This app speeds up the creative process so you can create custom assets for every segment of your audience. The third app we'll build is what I like to call an interactive dashboard. With this app, you'll be able to visualize your data fast. No more static graphs or charts you have to refresh every day. This app keeps your data visualizations fresh so that anyone can get answers when they need them. Feeling excited? Before we dive in, I want to introduce you to a new AI tool, Google AI Studio. At Google, I lead an incredible team of engineers, designers, and product managers who help craft the experience in AI Studio whenever there's a new AI model or capability that is released, so that people like you understand how to make the most of it. We'll use AI Studio to build our apps. To access it, go to aistudio.google.com. Once you get there, you'll notice the page is a bit different from Gemini. So let's take a second to walk through the tool. AI Studio starts on a home screen with a few main options. The first is chat, where you'll write your prompts to get an output. On the right side, you'll see settings to modify your outputs. You can select from all of the newest models to complete your task, add system instructions that the model processes before using your prompt to provide output, adjust the temperature, and more. Next, we have Build, which is where we'll spend our time in this course. When you select the Build function to create an app, you'll see a text box at the top. This is where I'll prompt Gemini models to vibe code. It works just like the other AI tools, but this time we'll direct it to build the 3 apps. To vibe code your own app, you can either write a prompt or use one of the samples below. As we build each app, pay close attention to a few things. Notice the natural flow of conversation between you and AI Studio. You'll iterate by using plain language to describe what you need, to refine requirements, to test the output, and to improve the result. Next, pay attention to how specific you'll need to get with your feedback. That's because vague descriptions yield generic results. The more precise you are when describing what you need, the more likely the app will match what you're looking for. You are the director, user, and tester of your app, and now you can use AI as your developer tool. Finally, the coolest part. See how fast you'll move from an idea to a working prototype. In the time it takes to have a chat over coffee, you can go from, I wish there was a tool for this, to, here's my custom solution. So, let me show you how. My big pro tip is always break it up. Break it up in terms of the different blocks of the app that you're trying to make. So one, it's always helpful to actually tell the model, here's the project we're making as a whole. So it understands the whole picture, the whole story of the thing you're about to make. Then you can actually say, cool, I have this app I'm going to make. Let's start with the first part. And then when it does that first part, say, now let's do the second part. And you can build it brick by brick. And when you do that, it's helpful because one, it'll probably get it right because it's actually focusing on the very specific tasks you're giving it. But two, it's actually easier to correct errors because if you ask it to make this whole big thing, you don't actually know where it messed up. But if you're doing brick by brick, you know exactly which one actually caused that fault. So be a little patient with it and break it up into steps, just like you would if you were to give any person a really complex task. And it'll go a long way. You can combine models. I think it's also really cool to think about how you combine those models, right? Like when you can generate an image, what about bringing it to life with Veo? And then what about creating a story around that using Gemini, passing the video back to it? So there's such a cool way to like chain all these things. And the cool thing about AI Studio also is you don't necessarily need to know how to change those things. You just need to describe your idea. So you could say, I have the story, I want to imagine the storyboard, then I want to animate that storyboard, and it'll tie those models together. So that's like a fun way to do it.